Greetings, dear ones. I am your host, Sonia, from the Treasure Is You podcast. Realizing that consciousness is emerging, its infrastructure network of illusion. We are the architects, spiraling in our own legacy throughout the infinity, bearing witness, reflecting, and visualizing this unadulterated existence into a manifested reality. Life is infinite, and so are you. And this is the treasure is you. Welcome, everybody. I am Sonia, the host of the Treasure You podcast. And as you can see, I have a lovely guest today, and her name is Dr. Lynn Carey. Dr. Carey earned her doctorate in chiropractic and a bachelor degree in nutrition from Life University. But her journey began way before when she had 2 spinal surgeries from scoliosis in high school. Afterwards, she was constantly sick. Chiropractic was her first step in her healing journey and truly changed her life. She owned a practice in Wilmington, Delaware for 18 years and has traveled to Brazil and India. Dr. Carey loves empowering others to create their desired life of health, wealth, and perfect self-expression. Today, she stays busy pursuing her entrepreneurial dreams and homeschooling her teenage son. So I welcome you to the Treasure Is You podcast, Dr. Carey. Would you like to say anything to our listeners?
Thank you so much for having me, Sonia. It's an honor to be here. It's so amazing to have this opportunity to share with a kindred spirit like yourself.
Yes.
These experiences. I think it'll help people.
Yes. What we're doing is we're getting a message out that needs to be heard, because a lot of people, like myself, when I was younger, you don't know what to do. You're stuck and you feel paralyzed until sometimes you hear another person share something simple and it can trigger something in you. So this is what we're doing. And I have found out that the power is in your voice once you speak your truth, which is from your heart. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. They're not aware of the heart because a lot of people, like the collective, they're afraid of the heart. They're afraid of love. They're afraid of that word that's been bouncing around for eons and eons. And I'm here to tell you, and I know Dr. Carey feels the same way, that you have to work through your heart because your heart guides you to everything that you need. So if you avoid your heart, then you're going to learn whatever experience or whatever journey you decide to take. You're going to learn from it, and guess what? That's a good thing. But if you do follow your heart's going to guide you where you really need to be, to that goldenness in your life. Yes. So I just went on a little tangent there because I'm all about the heart. As you know, Dr. Carey, I would love for you to share parts of your journey, just to share with the viewers so they can realize certain things about life, because sometimes when people hear another person speak, it helps them to understand things.
I think we learn so much from each other and from our own life experiences and what we did in the situation and our own and people's stories. I love to learn from other people. I think it's so inspiring how people overcome things. And I was even reading your bio and things about you, and I thought you had an intuition too growing up, and I did too. I knew something, there had to be more to life than what I was being shown. And I do think that played a part in my developing scoliosis as a teenager. And that's the curvature of the spine. It says you're pulled in 2 different directions, is the emotional cause behind it. I had the S-shaped curve, so my spine was going in 2 different directions. And I felt that from what my family, from education to my religion, what they were telling me what life was.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't buy into it.
Right.
I was depressed. I was really depressed because I thought, I don't want to be here. Like, I just don't jive with this
Right.
world. Everybody,
Right.
people are excited to go to school. I hated it. And just, it was always about struggle and working hard. I didn't see anybody enjoying their life or having fun. And I thought, what is the point? So I do believe that played a part in my scoliosis. It came and they wanted to brace me for like 5 years till I was done growing, and I didn't want to wear that god awful brace. And so when the surgeon said you're a great candidate for surgery when I was 15, I'm like, let's do it. Let's just get this fixed and over with. I only knew the medical world, and the surgery itself was a success according to what it's supposed to have done,
Yeah.
but it left me sick and in pain for the next 5 years of my life, and going in and out of the doctor's office with always something different. And I'd always get an antibiotic or a painkiller or a muscle relaxer, and none of it really worked. It just left me sicker. And I would ask, why do I keep getting sick? And they never had an answer for me. So I was in college getting more depressed, like trying to find myself, like I got to figure out what I'm doing with my life to be successful. And someone gave me a pamphlet on chiropractic just to look into the profession. And I didn't know what it was. And I read the pamphlet, and it said the power that made the body heals the body. And I
Mm,
thought, oh, that was the first time I heard truth. I'm like, why hasn't
yes.
anybody said this to me? And through all these last years of, my pain and suffering. And I
Mm-hmm.
just went to chiropractic school on the philosophy. I didn't even get adjusted. I had no idea what I was getting into, but I,
Right.
I think it was a God call.
Yeah.
I went, and it changed. It was began the journey, and it changed my life.
Yeah. I can tell. I mean, I didn't know much either until I read your book. And let me tell you, that it's very powerful because look, it took you down your path. And because of that, you learned so much. And of course, you're still on your journey, still learning, right?
That's right.
But it's just amazing when you do key in and you realize, okay, this is what I need to be doing, or this is the way I need to go. And you're not sure what's going to happen, but that's a part of the journey, right? You just
It
go
is.
and then you follow through, and then next thing you know, you're learning more. You're learning more from people, from just strangers, because you, like you said, and I'm doing this too, you allow. When you allow and you surrender, then everything kind of falls in place, or it falls in place where you can comprehend and you're not afraid. Like for me right now, my journey, I'm very excited. I'm like a child. I'm like excited about just doing things, and I don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, but because I'm following my heart, that's what makes it exciting for me. Yeah, I wake up, I call my mother because I walk every morning. I call her every morning, so happy, and she looks at me like, "Okay, what's going on here? You're so happy." And I'm like, "Yes, I'm like high on life, okay?" So that is where I believe a lot of people, if they were high on life, they would have a different perception of themselves. They would have a different perception of the world, because at least now they're a little more aligned to what they love. So,
That's so beautifully said, because that is the magic of life when you really don't know maybe how things are going to unfold, but you're open to saying, oh, what is life doing for me now?
yeah,
What great gifts and opportunities are showing at my doorstep now? If we have
yes,
that perspective instead of like, oh, this is happening to us, or happening to us and we're victims, but it's happening for us to have a
yes,
magical journey, to have an empowering experience, to create heaven on earth, then it becomes very exciting.
yes. You just said something. Create heaven on earth. See, that's another thing. That's another thing that we all been taught, right? That, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that to get to heaven. No, no, no. What I found out is heaven is right here now. Once you realize what it is that you love, the people you're around, the things that you're doing, you create heaven on earth. Yes, that's the heaven on earth I know about. So you don't have to wait to pass over and go to heaven. Heaven is here right now. And a lot of people, the collective, because I was a part of that, you know, they're unaware of that. A lot of them. Some of them are waking up, but they're waiting for it. What are you waiting for? Live life now. Be joyful now, right? I
You know,
just,
you really helped me come into focus with a thought there. And it's like, I think that really shows our oneness, because I've always come from the place of wanting to help other people experience what, if I found the truth, or if I found something that lifted me up in my life, I always wanted to share it. And I know that can be borderline, well, you're trying to fix people or change the world and all this kind of stuff. But we really, I think it became clear in these last few years for me
hmm
that we
hmm
are all one. We're all one energy. And it does help when we put our message out there. And if we find the God source within and we create our heaven on earth, we do ripple effect out into
yes,
the universe to help the collective raise the consciousness. So we can
yes,
pull out of this struggle and suffering, create from that place, that
hmm
low vibration, we get stuck there. I'm
hmm
not saying the negative vibrations or the low energy emotions don't have a place, because we create through the duality, right? They have a
exactly.
place, but we get stuck there. And that's why we fester in disease. That's why we fester in poverty. That's why we fester in so much pain. When
hmm
we can just experience the negativity and move through it, allow it to move through us, and then we naturally bounce back like a cork underwater, right, to the higher vibrational, because we are God's source energy. We
Yes.
are source energy. We are, that's our natural state. That's what I found on my journey. We are, that life force flowing through us is
Yeah.
our immune system. It's triggered through our happiness, our
Yes.
dreams, our inspiration, our purpose.
Yes.
And if we can allow us to follow that, we can start creating from those higher planes. And this can be a joyful experience. It doesn't have to
hmm
be so much pain and suffering,
hmm
and it helps us all. So I think that's why I've really solidified for myself it's important to share our experiences when we have these high vibrational experiences, because this is how we help, really help humanity.
Yes, absolutely. And we're doing it right now. We're doing it right now. We're messengers. As a matter of fact, I believe everybody is a messenger. Even if you don't believe you are a messenger, you are a messenger. Now, depending on what you're putting out, some people may put out lower energy, but you and I right now, we are putting out a high vibrational energy to uplift the whole because we are a part of the whole. And I think that is the greatest thing. In addition to knowing, like you just said, we are a fractal and the essence of divinity. So
That's
when
right.
you know that, when you know that you're a fractal of divinity, that changes everything for you.
It does. It changes everything. And that's why I call it my journey to grace, my book, because when I finally understood that grace state, that high vibrational place, I'm
Yes.
like, this is what everybody's searching for.
Yes.
You think you want the next relationship, you want to fall in love, you want more money, you want to travel. Usually it comes from a place of lack, because we're
Right.
looking for that fix.
Yes.
The alcohol, the drugs, like, because
Yes.
it gives you that high, but it's an unnatural high. It
Mm-hmm.
may give you a glimmer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not to say that it's bad, but once you learn to tap into it for yourself, it
Mm-hmm.
changes everything. And that's
Every
why everything, that's why you can move through the struggles. If you have struggles in life, differently. It's not so desperate, because now you're like, oh, this is unfolding for me to learn something to expand my soul again, to expand my consciousness again. So
yes.
it just became like night and day once that I finally got that concept or I felt that experience.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree totally. I mean, once you know that, then it just changes everything. Everything. You are a transformed person for the better, and that's what we want. We want for the better. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And now I want to ask. I wrote something down. What is? It's from your book, the Sedona. Can
The
you
Sedona
explain that?
method.
Yes. Can you explain like how that helped you and that can help
Yeah.
some viewers?
Yeah, because I think it's a very powerful tool. It's very easy. It is a book. I had bought the course. It was like a workbook and CDs, and I played the CDs. I listened to them and did the workbook for like 6 months. And this was after I had my son. I had already had my gray state experience. So I was already coming from that higher place. But then you know what? My soul had to go through a dark night of the soul
Right.
after. But because I was going through that, it wasn't as painful because I knew the gray state. I knew this is stuff clearing. Because I
Right.
was usually about listening to positive things. I love listening to Abraham Hicks, all these things,
Yes.
but I couldn't absorb it because there was so much darkness coming through me. And I think it was childhood survival stuff and
Yes.
all the stuff, all the programming, because I had my son, and
Mm-hmm.
it stirred up like, wow, what was done to me, I would never do to him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, how do you process all the pain that comes up for yourself? And that's what I was like stuck in that. But I knew what was happening. I at least had the consciousness. I was aware that the darkness was
Yeah.
coming up, but I didn't know how to move through it. And I saw the Sedona method. I think just from one of the books I was reading mentioned it. I looked into it, bought the course. I did it for about 6 months every day. Just,
Mm.
and then, you know, you spend 10 to 30 minutes on it or whatever you need. And it's a simple thing where you just say, can I be with this pain right now? Yes or
Right.
no. There's no right answer, but it's just, can I feel what I'm feeling right now? Yes or no. Can I let it go? Yes or no. So it's like you just go through a series of questions.
Mm-hmm.
But what it does, it just kind of neutralizes the that negative emotional place, and it just makes it
Right.
okay to feel it. It just gives you like an avenue to like grasp it because sometimes it's so big.
Right.
And
Right.
then once that it passed, I could tell it passed, and I was able to absorb all my happy stuff again. You know, my positive, the things I listened to that
Yeah.
were real inspirational, and I could tell I was able to get back to my grace state and who I was at that point.
That's very important because you paid attention to what needed to be brought attention to. So you asked the questions, because that's something I do too. I ask, if something's going on in my life, I'll say, Sonia, why did you do that? So when I ask that question, then it's like, okay, I'm going to get the answer because I just asked it. But see, a lot of people do not ask the questions, right? They just go through whatever they're going through, and they don't know what's happening. It's like they're confused, and then they repeat it. They get in a spiral and repeat the same things because, for one, they're not questioning. Two, they don't know what's going on in the first place, right? So then that keeps you in a fog. But yeah, if you question whatever it is that you feel is off in your life, you will definitely get the answer. You may not get it the first day, but if you keep at it, you will eventually get the answer. And then it will open more up in you so you can recognize what's happening. You're like, okay, I don't want to go down A street. I want to go down B street because B street is more peaceful for me. Why do I keep going down A street where all the addictions and the drugs and the food and all these distractions are? Why am I doing that to myself, right? A lot of people do that because, like I said, they don't even know. They're like automatically doing it. They're unconscious of their actions. But when you bring conscious to your actions by questioning, like you said, and I do it as well, then you bring it to the surface. You can't hide from it because you just ask the question. That's a simple thing, but guess what? A lot of people don't do that because a lot of people aren't conscious enough. They're not aware enough that these things are happening in their lives to keep them spiraling, right? To keep repeating like a hamster, right? And then at the end of the day, you're so exhausted and tired. And then you have to say, but what did I do today? What did I achieve today? Right? And a lot of us, for myself, I didn't achieve anything. I gave all my energy away to a job that I used to work at, 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, giving all of my energy away. Come home tired, take my shower, and then guess what? Wake up and do it again tomorrow. And just keep repeating that. I wasn't really having time for myself because that's what I was doing. And that's what a lot of people do. They work, 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 work. And then when they get off work, they're so tired. They don't even have enough time for themselves to think, to plan. It's like, what is a plan? Because you work so much that you don't even comprehend that, okay, I need to sit down for at least 5 minutes and pause and breathe so I can feel my heartbeat, so I can feel myself. A lot of people, are in that space.
Can I just say that's like the perfect segue? That's exactly, you described perfectly what I saw in practice when I had my practice for about 18 years. I saw that is exactly why people didn't have wellness That's why people had the repeated chronic patterns, the repeated pain. And I thought I could adjust them all day long. But if they don't start asking, why are they in this situation? And
Yes.
that's the part I couldn't connect. I'm like, their mental stress, their emotional stress, if they're not dealing with it, it comes out as physical dis-ease. And
Yes.
a lot of people didn't connect that. And I'm like, if you're going to a job you hate that drains you, or, they're worried about they don't have enough time, they don't have enough money, they can't really take care of themselves, because not enough time and not enough money, right? They don't have purpose or passion in life,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really stuck what I call the rat race. And I just thought, this has got to change. This is killing people. I saw
Mm-hmm.
that, and that's why I
Mm-hmm.
became very passionate for looking for answers outside of it, because I at least had purpose and passion with
Yes.
chiropractic. So it didn't feel like a grind. But
Mhm.
I also knew I could only adjust so many people. I wasn't financially free, so there was different things in my life that weren't fully aligned. I had busted through the health stuff because of all that I went through with my body and learning
Right.
to heal differently and going through the fears. So I felt free in that way. But there was other ways that I wasn't free, but I saw it with the people coming in, and you just described it perfectly. And I saw, that it really upset me. I thought, there's got to be more for people to do than just come see me and get an adjustment.
Right. Right. You know what? You said something, and I remember in your book, and I remember like three different people. Can you, if you remember, which I know you probably do, the lady who had problems with her eyes, and she didn't receive any help from you for like, I don't know, 18 years or something, and she went and did it the traditional way, and you were just like, I can't believe it, like nobody's like looking for a better way or solution. Everybody's still stuck in that traditional way to receive a result from whatever they're going through. And I know in your book you were like, I can't believe this. Like this, I don't know if this person was a friend of yours. Yeah.
This is what it was. When I got out of chiropractic school, I was 23 years old. I just wanted to get out, and I was ignorance on fire, because I just thought I was going to go out and change the world, because people needed to hear that it was a passion project for me. Didn't
Yes.
realize I had to figure out money. I just thought all that would work itself out. I opened up on my own because I didn't want to compromise my principles. I didn't really
Yes.
align with how other people I saw practicing. That's a whole nother, topic, how diverse our profession is. But it meant a lot to me, and I know how I healed. It wasn't that it was a quick fix, so I didn't want to, advertise that to people. It's a journey. Health is a journey, and adjustments are just about wellness and keeping your channels open. But when I would offer this to people, hey, your eyes, you have a problem with eyesight. I've seen people get better because it wasn't, I'm not saying it will or it won't, but why not try it? It's safe, it's
Right.
easy, it's not invasive. And people would say, I'm afraid, I don't want to. And I thought, this is weird. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I had a lot of that. I felt like a lot of times my message, people didn't want to hear. And that really blew my mind. Like, I really like took my breath away. It probably the first 5 years, because I was still like pushing, like trying to get it out there, like, going up, beating up the upstream. And that's why I say, like, I kind of came back to sharing my message again in the last few years, because I kind of learned to not talk as much, because I kind of knew what people were going to say. And I just thought, I just, it got tired of going up to the people who didn't want to hear it. And
Right.
I felt like that's what I was up against, because that's kind of how
Right.
my family was. And you kind of attract what you're trying to heal. You're not being heard. And so it was very frustrating to me, but I couldn't imagine, like, I don't even understand that mindset still to this day. When someone offers you a quick, easy solution, it may or may not work, but why not try it? And
It's,
people won't try it. And I,
it's,
I, I still don't know what that is. And I guess maybe we just have to accept that we all come in as different souls to experience different things on this journey. And not everybody's ready to awaken to their God source within, or to really expand their consciousness this time around. That's the only thing I could equate it to.
but listen, I'm going to share something with you right now. Every person that you offered some advice, something, like to help treat them in a different way, guess what you did? I'm just showing how powerful you are. You may have felt probably like, okay, I'm not doing that, but no, you did something. You planted the seed, honey. You planted the seed in all those people. So guess what? Even though a lot of them probably didn't have the type of, they didn't follow your advice, they know it's in there now. It's in there. So maybe who knows, 10 years later, 20 years later, they're going to say, oh, wow, Dr. Carey did say that. And I got it now. I guarantee, I know that. Like I'm getting intuition right now strongly on that. So even though you feel like you didn't do anything, guess what? You did, because you are a messenger. You are a powerful messenger. Your voice, you even said that in your book. Let me see. I'm trying to, yeah, it says, your voice is where our power is. So you did it. You did it, Dr. Carey. Even though they didn't follow through, you planted the seed, and that's all you were supposed to do.
That's
That's
right.
it. You did it.
Absolutely. You're right. That's right. Because this is how we evolve. We get little breadcrumbs along the way until we get
Exactly.
enough of those pieces where we can actually handle whatever it is that we're awakening to. That's absolutely right. You're right about that.
Because I guarantee you, yes, and I say guarantee that a lot of those people now have changed. They probably have changed some viewpoints, and they're more accepting of whatever it was in their life because you planted a seed in them, and they're like, okay, let me at least venture down this road now and see what that was about. Or it could be something totally different, but the point is you planted the seed for them to do better. Because so you don't even know what it is.
That's true.
You see what I mean? So that's the beauty of our voice. When you
And that's why
speak,
we have to just share our message and not be attached to the outcome. We just have
there
to
you
know
go.
that as long as we're coming from
A
our
place
highest
of
intention
love.
at the moment, right? And doing our best, that's all we can control.
That's it. And that's what I'm sharing with you, is that you did what you were supposed to do. That was it. You were supposed to just share that message. And if they didn't accept it, they didn't accept it. That's it. So I'm just here to tell you, you did it back then. See? So you were a part of something way back then, helping people when you probably didn't think you were, but you were. Absolutely. I feel that
I love
strongly.
that. Thank you for that, Sonia. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So, is there anything else? I'm trying to think. Oh, wait, before we um before we go on, I want to just touch a little bit, just a little tidbit on the homeschooling for your son. Let me tell you, you are my hero. You are my hero because I have two daughters. They're adults now, but again, I was in that mindset. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how like to go about homeschooling. And then when I finally found out about the homeschooling, I feel like it was too late. My kids were in high school, and with certain things that they weren't teaching them, and I just could not believe it. I'm like, what? I just could not, I could not believe it. So for you to have homeschool your child, let me tell you, I applaud you. What courage.
I hated school so much, and I was an honor student. I was an A student. I worked and studied my butt off, and it really just made me sick. And when I got out and practiced and I realized that no one taught me about money or business, and I knew, like, I was questioning, like, why am I studying this topic? I don't know,
Hmm.
even algebra, whatever. I'd be like, and when am I going to use it? So I would look and see, like, when do we use it? And my mom would always say, you'll see, you'll need it when you get out. Well, guess what? I never needed it. 99% of what I studied in school, ever, even chiropractic, I hate to say it, like they made us learn all the medical stuff. I
Yeah.
had to really become a good adjuster. I kind of learned outside of the curriculum. I went
Right.
to study under chiropractors. I went to seminars because of my spine and my unique situation. I
Right.
really, and then when I got into practice, I had to teach myself the finances. And when I came across Robert Kiyosaki's Rich
Mhm.
Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And I knew we didn't get financial education in school. He opened up a whole new world for me, like chiropractic did with health. He opened up the floodgates for the finances. And I'm like, I knew I was
Hmm.
wasting my time in school. It was just a deep knowing. And I felt like I was in prison. And I still, like, I don't even like to get up early in the morning because I think of that. I think it makes me think, oh, I have to go there. Like it
Right.
was so, and I see kids going to school and it makes me feel sick to my stomach. So I came from that place that, and when I was in chiropractic school, I heard of the homeschooling. I heard of all these alternative things. So I didn't know exactly how to do it, but I just figured it out as I went.
Hmm.
And that was the only reason that I, you know, homeschooled my son. But now in these last 3 years, I see how much
Mm-hmm.
drama and stuff going on in our school systems right now. That wasn't even the reasons when I started. And I thought now it just gave me like 1,000 more reasons that I'm glad he's not in there. But
Yes.
he has been a little bit challenging with the social aspect, especially with the last 3 years with the lockdowns and everything that happened. He lost a little bit of that. So I'm not saying it's perfect,
Right.
but we're figuring it out, right? It's like sometimes you just have to pave the way. And maybe because I paved a little bit of the way, somebody will come along and make it a little bit better. Because
Exactly.
I'll say, hey, this aspect's missing. We need more of this for people who are going to, do something outside the educational system. So that's why
Yes.
I did what I did.
Yes, well, like I said, I applaud you because with the vaccines, I had a daughter that was like allergic to a lot of things, and I can literally remember the moment I was in the doctor's office and she had to get the MMR shot and she was allergic. So this is me because I have no clue. At least I thought I had no clue. So I'm in there and I'm allowing this doctor to give her this. Can you believe that? Because I'm not aware enough. I'm not conscious enough to say, no, don't give this to my child because I'm thinking this is the only way. And yeah, to this day, I'm looking like I can't believe I did that to my child. You see?
But you know what? You did the best you knew at the time. I'll
Yeah,
tell you,
I know.
the people I have the most compassion for are new moms who are waking up to questioning the vaccines, the school system, of home birth, all this kind of stuff, because I already had that background. I already kind of had it figured out before I had my son. And I was already going through so much depression at being pregnant because I wasn't sure if I should be bringing a child into this world. Like I really questioned deeply this whole process. I wasn't like, oh, I want to go get married, have kids. And like, I always questioned everything the mainstream because I did not see people happy. I was looking for truth, happiness. And I'm like, why are we in this world? And
Right.
so I was already dealing with, I can't imagine just being pregnant and having a baby is enough in itself, let alone trying to figure out the vaccines, the birthing, all this kind of stuff. I really felt compassion for mothers. I mean, I had the background where I was strong enough in myself and my own personal sickness that I had to go through and trauma that I had to heal before I got to that stage. So I came in very strong knowing I
Mhm.
can't imagine having to figure it out as you go along. Like
Yeah.
that's a lot. So you need to really be compassionate on
Mhm.
yourself that you made the best choice that you knew at the time. And there's a reason it was part of your awakening. And it's
Yes.
a lot for moms. And it's hard to find a pediatrician or a doctor who goes the natural way. I mean, it's like a needle in a haystack
Yeah,
who's going
you're
to
right.
support you in not doing vaccinations or to warn you on the dangers of the vaccinations. You're not going to find that. We may start in the next few years coming up, but we're not
Right.
there yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm aware I did, what I knew at the time, but I just, you know, still there's little parts of me like, I wish I didn't, but I did and I learned from it. So, that's why I say I applaud you because you knew and you were just amazing from what I read in the book and I just applaud you again
well,
because
thank
that's a
you.
hard
Thank
yeah,
you so
it's a
much.
hard thing to like go against the grain. I feel like you went against the grain on like everything.
I
You did
know.
it, but
What's
guess what?
funny is that's what I kind of I realized that's what I did. And even the last 3 years I went against the grain and I thought that's what I'm like, I think I'm a little tired. I'm like, I think I'm just gonna do like nonsensical stuff for a little bit just because I gotta cool it off. I've been trying to save the world and myself for a long time now. I think it's time to like slow it down a little bit. Just be playful, be like a child again, like you said, and just
Yeah,
kind of allow
yeah,
because it's kind of funny.
yes, but it's still it's very inspiring. Like like I said, when I was reading your book, so that for me is just everything. I want to know now because we're going to wrap it up. Is there any last words that you would like to share? I guess about your book or just in general that you want to share with the viewers to help them to become a better human being, to help them de-stress, just anything simple.
Well, just simple. You can find me on my website, creatingmydesiredlife.com. My book's there. You can email me a question or get on my mailing list. But I always leave to tell people like to follow your joy, to follow your happiness, to follow things that inspire you, because that is God talking to you. That's your higher self talking to you. That will turn on your immune system and the life force within you full force. It'll create miracles in your life. And it doesn't have to be drastic things. It's little things, by looking for gratitude every day, looking for things that inspire you, looking for, feeling the sunshine on your face. Take it in those moments, because the more you do it, the more moments you'll have to take in, and you'll be guided along the way to how to create your desired life and what you really want it to look. And there is no dream that's too big or too crazy. You may think it is at the moment, but just honor it, because it's the soul's journey to guide you there, to rid the limiting beliefs, to rid all the stuff that you're not acknowledging yet. But that's the joy of the journey. That's what we're here for. That's the evolution of the soul. I always say, I think people don't take it seriously enough. Their joys, their dreams, their happiness. That's a huge, huge thing to make a priority in your life.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. 100%. If I can go any higher, I wish I could. Because that is it. All right, my viewers, we are going to end it here. But as I always say, enjoy the rest of your day and remember to be present. But most certainly, remember that the treasure is you. Take care and namaste.